Neil, do you remember these when they were released?
I'm not that old.
Well, this is the Decimal Day booklet. I remember these because we still had these knocking around when I was growing up in the 1990s. Every family in the country was given one of these decimal booklets. I think they had to pay for them.
One as a child.
But yeah, the whole idea was to get people used to the new currency, because in the late 1960s and early 70s, there was Decimal Day, 1971, and the currency went from a very complicated system, of course, pounds, shillings, and pence, to the new pence system, 100 pennies to the pound. If you open it up, very sticky now because the plastic wasn't very good. Every coin is explained, from the little decimal halfpenny that we no longer have, up to the 1 and 2 pence. So Neil, what's interesting about these compared to, say, the coins we see in our change today?
Well, it's the fact that it says new pence.
Yeah, so all of the coins from the 1970s to the early 1980s said new pence on them. And we get so many phone calls in the office, people phoning us up saying, I've got a 2p or a 1p that says new pence on it, or new penny. And we have to say, we're really sorry, but millions of them were minted, and they all say
No value.
Exactly, and there are a lot of articles online that say if it says a new penny or new pence, it's worth a load of money. Now, there's a reason they say that. It's not completely untrue.
No.
Because in 1983, a coin was minted that became probably the rarest coin, or one of the rarest coins in circulation today.
Yeah, I would say out of all the phone calls we get, people who've seen £2 coins or 50p's on eBay, they think they're worth thousands, and we have to constantly tell them, sorry, it's only worth its face value. And then people begin to think, well, actually, there's nothing rare in our current coinage, but this is one we take very seriously.
Yeah, this is the 1983 specimen set made by the Royal Mint, strangely in conjunction with Martini, the drinks manufacturer.
Not only Martini, but Heinz, that just...
And Heinz as well. I quite like the Heinz one because if you fold this in half, you could see literally like a baked bean can on the front. So I don't know why they were doing Martini and Heinz. It was some sort of collaboration. Anyhow, this is the 83 set, but the most important thing about it is that the 2 pence coin in here is an error. So they'd stopped using the word new pence a couple of years earlier. But for some reason in 1983, there was an error at the mint, and the 2 pence piece in this set says new pence on it. So if we look closely, we can see that we've got 50 pence, we've got 1 penny, 5 pence. This is the big old 5 pence and 10 pence, which are now much smaller. And then new pence for the 2p. And people realized this quite early on, and no one knows exactly how many were made. There was something like 600,000 1983 2 pence coins. Probably less than 1,000, or even fewer than that, of the new pence.
Yeah, if I think how many I've perhaps had over the years, to be honest, probably no more than 20, 30, and that's over a 30-year period. So, yeah, I think they are incredibly rare. We just don't know exactly how many. But what I would just say is when you said specimen, yes, they were put into this set, but actually they are just BU.
Oh, yeah, just BU ones, all right,
just
yeah.
BU, so they're all mint state, straight from the mint. But this is why some have got in circulation, because they'll have seen a set like this, and someone will have thought, well, I can just spend it.
You can't now, yeah.
That is exactly how the 2 pennies have got into circulation.
So that they actually do exist out there, and we've seen some that have clearly circulated, because most of them are in the set, right?
Yes.
So because people would collect every year, the mint would send them a set every year. They'd just have it on, they'd buy one every year, and so you get basically a load of very low value sets, and then if you're lucky, because not all of the Martini and Heinz set have the error, do they?
No.
It's a small fraction of the sets that do. So if you're lucky, if you do have this set, check the 2p, and if it says new pence for 2 pence,
yeah,
then your quid's in, because what are these worth?
An ordinary set, without the error, you'd be lucky to get £10. Right. It's a huge...
And what about it? What are we asking for this one?
With the error...
We're asking £950.
Well, 950 isn't a bad price. At auction, I've seen some go as high as 1,500.
Right. Yeah.
They're not, I don't think they're worth quite as much now, but easily worth just under 1,000. It's a big difference.
No, absolutely. I think this is a thing with people are so interested in checking their change because of all the different 50p designs. Like we've got the Kew Gardens 50 pence, famously rare. And when they're on that topic, they then look at other stuff to check for. But yes, unfortunately, I think the chances of finding a 2p of that type in your change are quite low.
They're quite low, but it will happen.
Yeah. So that's the 1983 new pence, the only new pence coin that's worth considerably more than its face value.
One to look out for.